Welcome back to Spotlight on Eventing. I am Saffron Cresswell and I am here to unpick with you all of the eventing action from last week. That including the Adelaide Equestrian Festival, including the first of our 5-star events this year, and also Burnham Market with the 4-star competitors, some of which will be heading to badminton. Not only that, but we will be looking forward to some of the events to come next week, including Kentucky 5-star. This episode is brought to you by British Eventing and Veradus. The first 5-star of the year was at Adelaide at the Equestrian Festival, and what an exciting competition it was. There were so many incredible results, but the winner, Oliver Barrett, at just 22 years old, what a performance for him. He won on Sandhills Briar, a homebred horse that he has produced. Oliver has 2 parents, both very successful at the very top of the sport in eventing, but an incredibly exciting future for him. He actually was in 3rd heading into the show jumping phase, but managed to jump that all-important clear in the show jumping, which had him to the top of the leaderboard. It was Madison Seabright who led the dressage on a 27, but unfortunately some time penalties cross country and a few rails show jumping knocked her down the leaderboard. So finishing behind Oliver Barrett was Sam Woods. He was actually the leader heading into the show jumping phase, but unfortunately picked up 4.4 time penalties, which knocked him off the leaderboard and down into 2nd place. Mike Etherington Smith and his team did such a brilliant job with the course at Adelaide, a course that actually has to be put up and completely built within 10 days, and it is now the only event in a city in the whole world. So no mean feat by him and his team, who have such a quick turnaround to get the course up and ready for the event and cross country on Saturday morning. And one of the combinations that really stood out to me on that 5-star course was 19A, B and 20. This was the 2nd time they entered the lake. They had a huge drop in on a curving 5 strides to a big offset angled set of brushes on 1 stride. Now the option was there if riders did have a bad jump that they could turn a circle before the 2nd of those 2 elements, numbered separately at 20, but those riders that were hitting the top of the leaderboard all jumped through straight and very, very well. The 2026 Oceania Eventing Championships were also being held out in Adelaide. That included the 3-star long class and the 4-star short class. And we saw in the 3-star long, Talia Purcell won the class with Astro NZBH. Talia is also a young rider, and I would like to think she will be in contention for those all-important under-25 World Championships later on in the year being held out in Mill Street. And as we look at the 4-star short section, that was actually won by Jess Summerfield. She brought forward APH, New Sensation. They took the win in that 4-star short section, and closely followed in 2nd was Sophia Hill, a rider who was based in the UK for a couple of seasons. She competed at the likes of Burnham, but has recently moved back to Australia, to her home country. The show jumping courses proving tricky at Adelaide, with just a 15% clear show jumping rate across all of the sections at Adelaide. And if you guys want help on how better to walk your show jumping and improve the accuracy of your show jumping round, then head over to the Be Prepared website, where Katie Williams looks at course walking for show jumping. If you didn't get the chance to watch any of the cross country at Adelaide, then head over to Horse and Country, where all of the classes were streamed live and are now available on demand. Back on home soil at Burnham Market, and Oliver Townend made it very clear he means business heading to badminton, taking the win with Cooley Rosalind on a very impressive score of 22.3. He was followed by Gemma Stevens and Flash Cooley. Gemma has had such a great couple of weeks with that win at Thorsby a couple of weeks ago. And in 3rd place was Clark Johnson and Rocketman. Following on from Burnham Market last week, we look forwards to Kelsall Hill this weekend. They have that 3-star international class there, with some of the senior riders bringing some of their younger horses out and about. But also what they have is included within this is one of the young rider trials. We see some of our top young riders, Oscar Fitzgerald, Lucy Standish and Anna Price, contesting in that 3-star short class. And they'll be in front of the selectors looking to get that international run under their belts before they head to Bicton for the young rider final trial. And we also see the pony 2-star class here. This hosts a huge number of under 16 riders, all looking to get their international qualification as well, with the aim of being selected for Europeans later on this year. Kentucky 5-star is just about to begin, and what a strong field they have this year. Every year I feel more and more riders and owners are making the trip out to the 5-star in Kentucky, and a great opportunity for the likes of Harry Mead, who has so many horses at the 5-star level, to be able to get that spring 5-star in for those horses is a great opportunity. But a few riders I think are very much worth the mention. First of all, Caroline Pamucciu, who comes forward with HHS Blake. This her Pan Am Games winner a few years ago, and Caroline will be looking to get her eye in front of the selectors ahead of the World Games in Aachen in August. Another rider who has so many horses now at the 5-star level is Boyd Martin. He has 3 rides in this class and will be looking to challenge the top of the leaderboard, I am sure. A couple of riders coming over from the UK though, which I think are worth a mention. First being Tom McEwen. He takes forward Brookfield Quality, a horse that finished 5th in Kentucky last year, so he will be wanting to better that performance. And I know a horse Tom thinks a huge amount of, and Brookfield I know also very, very much enjoying their trip out to Kentucky. And finally, Tim Price. He comes forward with Vitali, and we've seen this horse so close to winning so many 5-stars over the years, and he really, really could do well out there. They've been working so hard on the show jumping. We know a horse that we will probably see at the very top of the leaderboard after the dressage phase. And with the show jumping being on a surface out at Kentucky, will he be able to keep those all-important show jumps up? Not only do we have the 5-star at Kentucky, but we also have the 4-star class. And there are 3 British young riders that head out there as part of the GB Rising Lions team, that being Finn Healy, Isabel Cook and Elizabeth Barrett. And I got to catch up with Finn on Saturday as he turned up to the event to hear all about how he was feeling and how the next few days looked. Cool, Finn. So you've just arrived out in Kentucky, is that correct?
It is. We landed late last night and then had a good night's sleep, got to the hotel, and all about just to head to the horse park now, which is going to be really exciting.
So exciting. How far is the horse park from where you're staying?
I think it's like 15 minutes, so really quite close. I think this is a hotel that a lot of the people that are attached to Kentucky stay in. They say they're fully booked from Monday next week, so it's going to be busy in here, I think.
Cool, so exciting. And so Joey, as he's known, flew for the first time the other day. Have you ever, or any of your family ever flown a horse to America before?
No, we've sold a couple to America, but then it's all very much out your hands there. The buyer sorts all that, and so it's our first time like sorting it, and we've been very lucky that the Rising Lions and Pedons have been amazing at sorting the majority of it, but it's still a massive undertaking, far bigger than I expected it to be, an amazing learning experience to actually travel a horse on a plane. And it was a bit nerve-wracking as well, especially when we got to East Midlands Airport on Wednesday, and it was thunder and lightning, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not sure I want to put him on this, but it calmed down luckily. And yeah, it was an amazing experience to be able to put a horse on a plane, and he seems to have flown really well.
Fab, and you talked about the Rising Lions. Obviously, that is the team that you've gone out with alongside Isabel Cook and Elizabeth Barrett. Just tell me a little bit sort of about what the plan is behind that and what's sort of the motto with the Rising Lions.
So it's a new initiative, and this is the first trip, and so it's a bit of a trial run, really, of giving young riders experience at the biggest events in the world. And so I've incredibly lucky to have been asked to come, and it's going to be an amazing experience and learn a lot, hopefully. And so that's really the plan behind it, to give us young riders as much experience as possible at these events that we wouldn't previously have had access to go and compete at.
Great to hear from Finn there. And what an amazing opportunity for these GB Rising Lions to head out to Kentucky and perform on the world's biggest stage. Once again, thank you to British Eventing and Varadus, and I can't wait to be back next week to unpick everything that's unfolded at Kentucky. See you then.